Hi, this is Mark Medina with the LA Times Lakers blog, and we're presenting an edition of Lakers Roundtable that's going to be previewing the Christmas Day matchup between the Lakers and Heat. And we're fortunate to have a guest who has tremendous insight on Miami. Ira Winderman from the South Florida Sun Sentinel joins us. Ira, thanks a lot for taking the time today.
Oh, my pleasure, Mark.
Well, you mentioned on your Twitter account just recently at Ira Heat Beat, you talked to Dwayne Wade. He offered some perspective on, just what the Christmas Day game against the Lakers entails. Can you just kind of take us through what his sentiment, that he provided for you entailed?
Yeah, Dwayne was saying that, look, it's a fun game, it's a special game, it's a showcase game, it's a publicized game, it's a much-viewed game, but it is just one game. And it's sort of like the comments Kobe gave earlier this week, saying we've won the championship when we've lost on Christmas, we won the championship when we won on Christmas. Dwayne's perspective is the same thing. This is not a 7-game series. This is not a playoff series. It's a fun game, but the Heat won't be crippled by a loss if it loses. It won't be overly ecstatic by a victory if it wins. It really is a very much of an in-the-moment game, but it is one of 82 regular season games that players tend to get up for a little more than the rest of the really monotonous schedule.
So from a practical standpoint, how should Miami address this game, knowing that it's not, going to hinge their chances of playing in the NBA Finals, but from a pure practical standpoint in the context of the season, what should this game mean to them?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Yes, Dwayne said that, but this is still a team that sort of needs signature moments to justify the whole Dwayne, LeBron, Chris Bosh get together. They need their moments. The Lakers have had those. They've had those in championship series against the Celtics and against the Magic. They don't need another moment in December. The Heat does. And the Heat's been building on these, going back to Cleveland with LeBron, blowing out the Cavaliers, going into Madison Square Garden recently when the Knicks were red hot, blowing out the Knicks. They need moments like this so when they get to their playoff series, they can reflect back and saying, hey, we've done it in the big moments. We don't have a history together. It's not like the Lakers where Odom and Fish and Gasol and Bynum have been together for so many years. These guys need to start making their history. So I do think it is a more meaningful moment for the Heat than it is for the Lakers right now.
In what respects?
In the respect of that they need to show that they're up to the moment. The Lakers have shown they're up to the moment. They've shown it in countless playoff series. The Heat, for as well as it went in those games I just mentioned, there have also been a lot of tough losses. They've also been going into places like New Orleans and Dallas and Orlando and honestly not looking very good and not being up to the moment. So there's still some questions about the Heat. When you look right now at the NBA race, people are saying, okay, Celtics, battle-tested. Spurs, battle-tested. Lakers, battle-tested. Heat, we're just not sure right now. Talented, yes, but proven, really not right now.
Well, obviously, as you well know, they started off the season, maybe based upon the expectations, left a little bit of the general public wondering what was going on. But obviously, they had the 12-game winning streak after that. What would you equate that to?
I'd equate it to for these guys finding themselves. Again, it's such a common theme. It's a matter of they had no identity. They didn't know who they were. Start of the season, LeBron James, primary ball handler. Early in the season, Chris Bosh playing big minutes at center. Then they started to figure it out. LeBron on the wing, running the break, getting free and clear. Chris Bosh playing as a post-up power forward at the mid-post instead of trying to force the game against bigger centers. It's still an ongoing search for identity. Early, the identity wasn't there. During the 12-game winning streak, they finally began to establish that identity, and there's still, like they'll tell you, are miles and miles to go.
We're speaking with Ira Winderman with the South Florida Sun Sentinel. You can follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat, and you had mentioned in your conversations with some readers that Mike Miller's return gives the Heat, a fairly good idea before the trade deadline on February 24th of where they stand with his presence on the perimeter. What else does his return do for the team?
Well, I mean, he is sort of, I equate him almost to the Lakers' Lamar Odom. He's that versatile guy that comes off the bench that could do so many things for you. It's not the one-dimensional scorer or the one-dimensional, maybe like a Matt Barnes, a defensive stopper. He's the guy who can be a facilitator. He can be a shooter. He can add length with his rebounding, very good rebounder for his position. So he comes off the bench like Lamar Odom, and he's almost 2 or 3 players. It's just like with Lamar. If the center goes out, the power forward, the small forward, Lamar can come in and fill those roles. Mike Miller really, for the 4, the 3, the 2, and even the 1 to a degree, can come in. So he gives you several players off the bench because of his versatility. So now the Heat has until the deadline to see, can his versatility fill all the gaps, or might there still be ongoing issues?
You just posted a story up mentioning that doctors have told him that he will have to play with a protective thumb splint. How is that going to affect his play, do you see?
Well,
or what kind of adjustments would he need to make to be able to?
I don't think any adjustments. The wonderful thing right now about this NBA levels of doctors they have is they can basically get anything to fit anyone and still have them, remain as a player. Mike, when I've watched him, shoot informally, has gone through sessions where he's made 27, 28, three-pointers out of 30, almost having his little three-point contest that they have during All-Star Weekend. The stroke has been true. It's the contact, though. It's the hard pass he reaches out for. It's getting the hand stuck in someone's jersey while cutting through a double pin down in the low post. It's those moments. Mike has yet to have that hard hit on the thumb. Then we'll know what it does. They're hoping the splint protects him from that because they told him, your tendon will not heal for 1 calendar year, which for him is the 3rd week of next October. So in a way, the Heat's trying to be protective, but on the other hand, they're also trying to maximize what they have in him.
You also tweeted, some news regarding Dwayne Wade. He stepped out of shoot-around with an ice pack around his left knee, and you also tweeted that he was going to decide before the tip-off tonight against the Suns whether he'd give it a go. If this would cause any sort of limitation in any respects, no matter how serious or mild, what do you foresee Miami needing to do to absorb any of that?
Well, the hope is, and Dwayne knows the moments, and I'm sure he'll push through, but when you have an explosive player, whether it's a hamstring, whether it's a quad, whether it's a knee, and you lose a bit of that explosion, it means a lot. I mean, right now this team is playing sort of both guys coming down on both wings with an attack mode. As we've seen before, when Dwayne is not in attack mode, when he's settling for the jumpers, it's exactly what the opposition wants, sort of like with Kobe when he's not his aggressive self. So will this cost Dwayne any aggression? My gut feeling is no, because these are sort of spotlight games. You had the games against the Sun, the game against the Sun on national TV, on Turner, then you have the nationally televised game on ABC against the Lakers. Dwayne, like LeBron, has always risen to the moment, and I sort of would expect the same, in this upcoming schedule.
I got 2 last questions. When you look at this game between the Lakers and the Heat, which matchup are you most looking forward to watch?
Well, I guess there's 2, and maybe it's just 1 matchup. I'm looking to see what the Lakers do with their defensive stoppers. There are so few teams in the league that could throw both an Artest and a Matt Barnes at you. So I'm just curious, how much defense will Kobe have to play? How many times will they get a stopper on Wade or a stopper on LeBron? I think, though, it comes down to the LeBron versus Artest. Ron talks up the defense. LeBron has had some big scoring games against the Lakers already, always seems to rise to the moment. Ron's been particularly loquacious in the week leading up to this game. So I'm curious if he backs it up or if he's more concerned about raffling off his championship ring in the hours after the Christmas Day game.
That's something that everyone, I think, including the Lakers and their fans, are asking as well. If you had to offer, what ultimately will happen on Christmas Day with the outcome, what would be your prediction?
I really do expect an absolutely compelling game. I don't think you can get Kobe and Dwayne and LeBron and Gasol and Bosh on the same court and not having a compelling game. I just have a feeling the perimeters, to a degree, will offset each other. And I think it could come down to Chris Bosh needs to have a productive game against Gasol, and I'm not so sure that for as much money and accolades as Chris has gotten, if he's in that category. I think Powell is by far the superior player. So I think when you watch that game on Saturday, keep an eye on the power forward. Can Chris Bosh keep the Heat competitive? If he does, I think the Heat wins, but I could also see Gasol going for a 30-15. I think he's the better talent. I would keep an eye on power forward. I think that could determine the game as well.
All right, those are the thoughts of Ira Winderman from the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Thanks a lot for your time and perspective, and we'll see you shortly on Christmas Day.
Always enjoy a warm, sunny Christmas. Got no issues. Thanks so much.